The topic is an innovative option for management of arthritis. So, in the beginning, I will tell you that this innovation has been done long, long years, decades, years, 100 years back, and you will come to know after the second in the second half of my talk. So, as we know that the arthritis, we have a lot, I mean, various type of arthritis, and the inflammatory arthritis is the common one. And in arthritis, in inflammatory arthritis, the rheumatoid arthritis is most common. And as we know that it affects the old and young, particularly the young females. And we will discuss in the disease burden, pathophysiology, current options, and their limitations, and role of a novel anti-inflammatory agents. So first we'll talk about the rheumatoid arthritis. It's, as we know, that it's a chronic inflammatory disease with unknown etiology, probably because of some virus or environmental factor, with combination of the genetic disposition. And it not only affects the joints, but also affect the blood vessels, skins, muscles, tendons, lungs, and it has a fluctuating clinical course and unpredictable outcome. So associated with 60% increase in the risk of CVD related death, complex and multifactorial pathogenesis. So as we know that this rheumatoid arthritis, it affects about 3% of the population, and the male and female and male ratio is 3:1. And the symptoms are usually the morning stiffness, multiple joint pains, swelling, and the seasonal variation, the particularly the bilateral hand involvements. So these are the things. And when we'll go for the pathophysiology, so this is sure, this is because of some formation of the some antigen and antibody complex. And the antibodies particularly are the IgG and IgM, which used to deposit in the, they love to deposit in synovium. So the joint pains are more common in this disease. As we see here that the antigen activates the macrophages, and that releases the inflammatory cytokines from macrophages like TNF alpha and the interleukin 1, and it leads to the synovitis and all. And one more thing, when we discuss the pathophysiology, it has 4 stages, but one stage is the preclinical stage, when the patient is not suffering from any symptoms, but the rheumatoid factor can be detected years earlier. And it can be the rheumatoid factor can be detected in 80% of the patients suffering from the rheumatoid, and 20% may be false negative or false positive. So the now the second stage is the synovitis, when the synovium gets swelled and patient has pain and limitation of the movements. And then comes the production of the collagenase, leads to destruction of the extracellular matrix. As we see, if the cartilage is there, oh, sorry. So and then there is release of MMPs, leads to cartilage degradation. The cartilage degradation also occurs because of the pannus, the thickened synovium. And the stage 4 is the deformity phase, and this is combination of the articular destruction, capsular stretching, and tendon rupture. As I earlier said, that it also affects the tendons and causes tenosynovitis, and that the proteolytic enzymes that degrade the tendons and cartilage, and resulting in the deformities. Like in osteoarthritis, particularly osteoarthritis is also idiopathic, the primary thing, idiopathic etiology. And initially it is because of the fibrillation of the cartilage, as the age advances, there is decrease of water content in the cartilage, and that get fibrillated. And again, when this thing advances, the particles originate from the rubbing of the cartilage and the bones. It irritates the synovium, and then again the inflammatory response occurs. So again, the inflammatory mediators are TNF alpha, interleukin 1 are the major things, and they have elevated levels of IL-6, IL-17, and MMPs, the matrix metalloproteins, and it can be detected in the synovial fluid also, and like in rheumatoid arthritis patients. So the pathophysiology of the rheumatoid arthritis and the osteoarthritis are approximately same, because both have the inflammatory mediators, cytokines, and so release of these inflammatory cytokines is regulated by the nuclear factor kappa B, and this kappa B is a transcriptor factor present in all cells. So it plays an essential role in the inflammatory and immune responses. So we can say that it is a switch of the inflammation. It plays an important role and for this inflammation to occur. So disorder due to the kappa B activation, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, means all the inflammatory arthritis. So this is the master switch of the inflammation. So again, it's a diagram. Like here is the cell membrane, and there is when the this nucleus this kappa B factor activates, that it stimulates the inflammatory stimuli. The TNF alpha crosses the cell membrane and goes to the IKB kinase, which activates again the this nuclear factor kappa B, and then it goes into the nucleus, and the activation of the genes encoding inflammatory mediators comes, and again the pro-inflammatory factor, inflammatory cytokines, tissue necrosing factor alpha, IL-6, IL-1, and again it mediates the inflammatory response. And then the synovial membrane, means synovitis, chondrocyte increased activity of the COX-2 and the MMPs, means leads to cartilage degradation, and the bone osteoclastogenesis and bone erosion occurs. So NF-κB plays a crucial role in the inflammatory and immune responses through the regulation of the genes encoding pro-inflammatory cytokines and the inducible enzyme. So the current option for the treatment of this rheumatoid and osteoarthritis. So we have painkillers, steroids, but they have their own limitations. In the like NSAIDs, they are not suitable for the elderly persons, not safe for the long-term use. Gastritis, nausea, vomiting, as we all know. And the steroid, again, they are not as well for the long-term use. Again, these are the side effects: gastritis, ulceration, diabetes, hypertension, osteoporosis, long list. So, and the DMRDs also. DMRDs, they have they have also the limitations. DMRDs are slow in action, take several weeks to show the results, provide partial response, but and needs close monitoring for the liver enzymes. So biologics, they are the expensive ones, and they target a specific inflammatory mediators only. Injection site reactions occurs, increases of TB, other bacterial infection, CHF, demyelinating disease, cancer, and I told that it is expensive. So what is the new things? What is the innovation? So if we can call that in ancient time or in years ago, our elders like grandpa, grandmother, they used to give us the turmeric in milk, milk to change the taste. And why? When we got injured or something, so they used to give these things because it has a very important component, and that is curcumin, difluoromethane. It is a biologically active phytochemical compound obtained from the rhizomes or rhizomes of the curcuma longa, means turmeric. possesses diverse properties: anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-proliferative, anti-angiogenic. So there are many clinical trials also, more than 65 clinical trials with the more than 100 patients completed, and more than 35 ongoing trials for this curcumin. So curcumin is NF-kB inhibitor, or as we know, the NF-kB inhibitor is a switch. So when we switch it, inflammation will decrease. So control master switch of the inflammation. This curcumin is a controller. So again, as we already seen in the diagram, that it has a multiple actions, inhibits IBK kinase, so stop the conversion of the inactive KB to the active one. So prevent, as already tell, prevents translocation in the nucleus, and so prevents the release of the pro-inflammatory factors. So there are the evidences, many paper published and many studies done. So this is the one in rheumatoid arthritis, comparative study of the curcumin with the diclofenac. And again, we can easily see that the CRP level with the curcumin is less than 3, and the dose would is 500 milligram per day. So curcumin is effective and safe in the patient with active rheumatoid arthritis. This is study 2, pilot study of curcumin. 18 patients with RA were treated with curcumin for 2 weeks. Curcumin improved joint swelling because the inflammation decreased. It stops the that nuclear factor kappa B. So curcumin was very well tolerated with better GI tolerability. So effective and tolerated. This is study for the osteoarthritis. This is a real life experience with the curcumin monotherapy. 820 OA patients attending outpatient clinics were treated with curcumin for 6 months, and results were encouraging: significant improvement in pain, improved joint mobility, better quality of life. 50% of patients were able to discontinue use of NSAIDs and analgesics. So again, the curcumin therapy was well tolerated. And this is again the second study for osteoarthritis, comparative study of the curcumin with ibuprofen. 367 primary knees OA with pain score of more than 5 were randomized to receive ibuprofen and curcumin for 4 weeks. And the result was again encouraging, like curcumin was found as effective as ibuprofen, and lower incidence of GI adverse events in curcumin group. So curcumin is as effective as NSAID but has better GI tolerability. This third study, role of curcumin monotherapy for 8 months given to the 100 patients of OA, and results was significant decrease in the serum inflammatory markers and more than 50% decrease in WOMAC score, 3-fold increase in treadmill walking performance. In patients already on NSAIDs and analgesics, co-administration of curcumin was associated with decreased need for the NSAIDs, marked reduction in the GI side effect. So curcumin is effective and safe for long-term management of the osteoarthritis. This is study 4, combination with the diclofenac. So 88% was primary with primary OA who were randomized to receive diclofenac alone and the combination with the curcumin. So as compared to diclofenac monotherapy, combination of curcumin with the diclofenac was associated with greater pain relief, better improvement in knee injury and osteoarthritis outcome score was. So curcumin when combined with NSAID provides additional benefit. So combination therapy, curcumin when given along with celecoxib, enhance action of the celecoxib on COX-2, decreases need for celecoxib. Curcumin given in combination with the prednisolone provides additive anti-inflammatory action through inhibition of inflammatory cytokines, significant reduction in the joint swelling, reduction in the side effect due to steroid. And third is curcumin when administered with the methotrexate provides synergistic anti-arthritic action, may help to reduce dose of the methotrexate. Reduced risk of hepatotoxicity and the hematological toxicity. Obviously, when the dose of the methotrexate will decrease, the side effect will decrease. So safety. Curcumin is generally recognized as safe by the US FDA. No noticeable adverse event were observed with the dose up to 8 gram daily for 3 months. Unlike NSAIDs, free from adverse effect on kidney, liver, on the cardiovascular system, even after long-term use. Occasional patients may complain of mild and transient nausea or vomiting. So unlike steroid, NSAIDs, DMARDs, curcumin is a well-tolerated and safe. Conventional curcumin is a hydrophobic polyphenolic compound, poorly absorbed from the GI tract, undetectable in plasma, doesn't reach system organs and tissues, so efficacy is questionable. The clinical trials carried out with conventional curcumin have used high dose up to 12 gram per day. Few studies have not shown positive results, and it has poor GI tolerability. So there was need for a bioavailable, effective and well-tolerated curcumin formulation. So this is the bio-enhanced curcumin by this SMEDDS technology to overcome the limitation of the conventional curcumin. A novel formulation of curcumin using self-microemulsifying drug delivery system SMEDDS has been developed by Cadila. So technology provides nano-sized hydrophilic droplets of curcumin, improved absorption and better tissue penetration, so that bioavailability would be more. So again, it's a graph showing higher and higher bioavailability of the curcumin in the tissues. So bio-enhanced curcumin, in summary, it inhibits the master switch of inflammation, that nuclear factor kappa B, decrease release of the inflammatory prostaglandin cytokines, so reduce inflammation. Monotherapy found to be effective and safe in treatment of rheumatoid and osteoarthritis. Efficacy at par with NSAID, but with better GA tolerability. When given along with the NSAID, steroid or the DMARDs, have synergistic action, helps in the dose reduction. When given along with the methotrexate, help reduce the risk of hepatotoxicity. Unlike biologics, can be given orally, is safe and well tolerated. So it is suitable option for the monotherapy as well as combination therapy. It is an attractive option in management of RA and OA, either as a monotherapy or the combination therapy. So particularly useful option in following group of the patients. Number 1, intolerant to NSAID, steroid or the DMARDs, compromised renal function, hepatic dysfunction, CV disorders, hypertension and cardiac congestive heart failure. So bio-enhanced curcumin is effective, safe and well tolerated treatment option for the OA and the RA. So let's make life pain free. Thank you very much.